Okay. So good evening and welcome to the first presentation from the Kalamazoo Art League of our season for 25-26. We are delighted and excited to have Michelle Hargrave presenting on the buffet and its effect on art. We have been working on a concept of food as art integrated with our talks about art, and so the presentation is very timely. Our whole season continues both the food as art concept, which is sponsored by Greenleaf Hospitality under the direction of Chef Ryan Bisnet from the Kalamazoo Country Club. But the purpose of the Kalamazoo Art League is to promote conversations about art through trips and lectures, and to support the Kalamazoo Institute of Arts in doing that. We thank you for attending. We thank you who are members, and we thank the Kalamazoo Institute of Art for hosting us and their hospitality. Our upcoming season is exciting. Last year's season we felt was really interesting and intriguing, and this season is no less. So mark your calendars. Our next presentation is October 16th, 6 to 7 p.m. and in cooperation with KIA. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to David Rose to introduce our guest speaker, Michelle, who is one of my favorite people and who has brought so much to this community of both art and Kalamazoo. Thank you. Oh, one last word. Following the presentation, Sharon Gleason from our Food as Art Committee will explain a little bit about the buffet presentation from the Food as Art concept from Chef Ryan, as the themes were tied into Michelle's presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to try to introduce Michelle Hargrave to you, but that's kind of silly because probably all of you know her as well as I do. She's been the director here for almost a year now. A little over a year now. It goes so fast when you're having a good time. And so many of us have been having a good time since Michelle's come. Michelle comes to us from the Figge Museum in Davenport, Iowa. She's had many other jobs before that, and also curator for the American Federation of Arts. She's going to talk to us today about a subject that's dear to me. On what should have been my honeymoon, I spent the summer digging up an Army fort on Mackinac Island and watched the different kinds of crockery change as the importance of the fort changed through the 19th century. So I have a keen appreciation for the subject that she's going to talk about, the role of design in terms of how it changed America's eating habits, and appreciation for art as America's social habits changed during the mid-20th century. Michelle.
Well, thank you. And Jim, I think of the kind words. I assume you say that to all the speakers, also, David, it's nice to have another material culture appreciate for someone who also appreciates it. Well, thank you so much for the opportunity to talk this evening. It's such a pleasure to partner with the Art League on the Art as Food presentation, and in all the ways, of course, that we partner. I would like to thank special thanks to the Art League Board of Directors, particularly Jim and Diane, who very graciously invited me to speak tonight. And I'm grateful to all of you. The KIA really values our partnership with the Art League. We appreciate your energy, your continued support, your membership, your friendship, as well as your inspiring role as ambassadors of art within the Kalamazoo community. Celebrating 75 years of incredible work. I'm excited about all of the exciting things that we'll do together in the future. But before that, let's jump back to 1933. So it's the new First Lady, Eleanor Roosevelt, is planning 3 meals for Inauguration Day. And White House staff says, hey, we can't accommodate all of these guests that you want to have a sit-down dinner. So her solution, let's serve everyone buffet style. That decision helped give national legitimacy to a mode of hospitality that now seems as American as apple pie, but back then was newly fashionable. Entertaining in this manner appealed to many hostesses because it was the best way to serve the, quote, maximum of guests with the minimum of fuss. And because smart, stylish, affordable serveware by leading industrial designers gave homes and tables a sophisticated, modern look without great expense. It's not surprising that the buffet party quickly became an American essential. And in full transparency, the image that you see there is actually not from 1933. It's a buffet picnic that Eleanor Roosevelt threw in 1939 for the visiting King and Queen of England. And of course, the idea of a buffet was not new in the 1930s. It stretched back to ancient Rome, Persia, and other cultures, with the modern buffet tracing to 16th century Sweden, think smorgasbord. And at the same time, France also adopted a similar dining concept centered on the buffet, which was the sideboard that held all of the food for the guests. As the custom entered the English-speaking world, though, the term came to mean the self-service format as well as the furniture. And then in 19th century America, buffets appeared at supper balls and breakfasts, and by the early 1900s at informal luncheons. But it really didn't take off as an acceptable way to entertain until the 1930s. And that's really when there were a number of significant changes due to economic hardships and changes in social norms. After World War I, women's lives changed dramatically. They cut their hair, shortened their skirts, and entered the workforce. And a number of people who had been domestic servants decided to opted for office work instead of the back-breaking housework. And a 1920s cookbook dubbed the housewife the modern Mrs. 3-in-1, emphasizing her role as cook, waitress, and gracious host. Along with a shrinking servant class, this period also saw challenges in home entertaining, including smaller living spaces, the elimination of a dining room in city apartments, and with the Great Depression, of course, reduced disposable income. And so the buffet offered a practical, stylish alternative to dining out and also to hosting a formal multi-course meal in your home. And so having guests serve themselves from a table abounding with elegant dishes was a way to entertain on a grand scale without the requirements of a traditional seated dinner, a dining table long enough to fit everyone, a domestic staff to serve and clear courses, and in matching settings, of course, can't forget that, for each place. And all of these things were, of course, beyond the means of most Depression-era households. As Emily Post wrote in 1933, quote, "The well-known Depression gave us one thing anyway, the buffet supper." In addition, buffet parties freed hosts from timing courses and allowed guests to eat what they liked, sit where they liked, and as etiquette writers frequently mentioned, even use a refill run to gracefully escape a tiresome guest. Inventive hosts, and maybe keep that in mind for the future, but inventive hosts adopted the service for luncheons, teas, breakfasts, cozy suppers, and the burgeoning women's clubs of the era. A number of manufacturers recognized this emerging casual trend could really be a means to help them boost flagging sales that they were experiencing due to the Great Depression. Firms moved into the home entertaining niche, hiring a new kind of professional at the crossroads of art, engineering, and marketing, the industrial designer. They asked these designers to reimagine things that people already had in their homes, like coffee pots, bowls, trays, things like that, and turn them into stylish and affordable pieces tailor-made for buffet services in the hopes that it would encourage people to open their wallets. Inspired by Art Deco's geometric glamour and the period's fascination with speed and technology, American makers leaned into American modern, which was characterized by rounded corners, teardrop profiles, stacked banding, and clean aerodynamic lines that suggested motion, hygiene, and efficiency. This fascination with modern transport and machinery translated directly to the table, where serving pieces looked sleek and fast. And given the novelty of the buffet party as a modern dining concept, manufacturers and designers opted for newly purposed materials or metals for their accessories. Firms favored chromium plate and aluminum, which were easy to clean, resistant to tarnish, and budget-friendly, and paired them with glass, bakelite, wood, rattan, and cork or other accents. And because the buffet party prized efficiency and flexibility, accessories were specialized to keep entrees warm, drinks cool, and generous quantities of food visible. Stackable and nesting forms saved sideboard and table spaces, plate and hands, service trays and tidbit trays, smooth guest circulation, and minimized utensil use. And designers created mass-produced table accessories such as electric warmers, chafing dishes, trays, percolating coffee pots, cocktail shakers, in up-to-date forms and materials. And the streamlined buffet toolkit born in this age is something that we still impacts the way that we entertain today. One of the first companies to recognize the opportunity was Chase Brass and Copper Company. In 1929, Chase strategically expanded its production from industrial brass wire, copper and tubing to include giftware and specialty items for consumers. And then in 1932, in recognition of the changing lifestyles and this growing surge in informal gatherings, Chase enlisted renowned industrial designers like Laurel Giles, Harry Leyland, Russell Wright, and Walter von Nessen to create a range of innovative chrome-plated accessories. And in just 2 years, Chase's buffet line expanded significantly. And the range of pieces were highlighted in a vibrant 1934 ad featuring electric food warmers, canapé plates, cocktail shakers, and a coffee service. The advertisement claimed that Chase had not only met the demand for buffet entertaining, but has also asserted that Chase was instrumental in actually creating the trend. The accompanying text to the ad proclaimed, "Ever since clever hostesses discovered Chase chromium articles that were designed especially for buffet suppers, smart informal entertaining has been the vogue." The company's efforts paid off. By 1938, its specialty line included over 150 pieces for its buffet service. They were economical, modern, and designed to simplify a busy hostess's life. The objects in the specialty line were primarily made of chromium, and this material was discovered in 1798 and used primarily in the 20th century for military and industrial uses. Widespread commercial use became feasible, though, once chrome plating was developed. And Chase capitalized on this innovation, putting the chrome plating over its rust-proof brass and copper. And because the public was, of course, new to chromium, Chase and their dealers spent quite a bit of time educating the public about the advantages of the material, including that it was tarnish. It was tarnish and rust-proof. It was very easy to clean, and it had gleaming surfaces and lovely aesthetic appeal. As stated in the Chase 1935 catalog, quote, "Chromium is the modern metal. It harmonizes with modern furnishings and reflects the brilliance and spirit of our age." The centerpiece of Chase's buffet accessory line emerged in 1933 with the introduction of the groundbreaking buffet server, a testament to innovation and design prowess. The creative genius behind it was Laurel Guild. Guild was a well-known industrial designer with a diverse portfolio that included lamps, telephones, railroad cars, vacuum cleaners, you name it. It was said that he designed over 1,000 products a year and never had a commercial failure. The buffet server here consisted of 4 porcelain containers for food, embedded in a large chrome-plated body, copper body rather. An electrically heated reservoir of water surrounded the containers, helped to maintain optimum warmth. It featured canted corners, classical columns, and black handles that contrasted beautifully and dramatically with the chromium, creating really a modern and dramatic effect. With a retail price, though, of $40, which was akin to what you'd pay for a major appliance, it was really beyond the means of all but the fairly well-to-do Americans. And certainly would have required some savvy marketing on Chase's behalf to entice consumers, which is what Chase did by partnering with etiquette authority Emily Post, who lent credibility and an aura of refinement. She wrote How to Give Buffet Suppers in 1933 for Chase, and these booklets were sold both separately and included as complimentary additions to your buffet server purchase. Part marketing tool, part etiquette guide. It praised the server for keeping food hot at the table, eliminating endless trips to the kitchen, and for its attractive design, which banished unsightly pots and pans while keeping the food inviting for late guests. Post also framed the buffet as fashionable and economical, offering menu and decorating tips, and again, sly advice that an attractive woman can use a trip to the table to escape that tiresome talker. Chase amplified Post's message with a broad campaign in magazines like House Beautiful, The American Home, and Good Housekeeping, casting the buffet server as a streamlined emblem of affluence, sophistication, and practicality. With Post's blessing and this sort of shrewd marketing, the server and the whole line became the coveted, up-to-date way to entertain, generously, economically, and unmistakably in modern style. Some of the other pieces from the line include the four-piece cake and corn set on the left by eminent industrial designer Russell Wright. The pitcher flexes syrup and melted butter, French dressing, cream, chocolate sauce, you name it, and is paired with companion spheres that serve salt and pepper, powdered sugar, or other condiments. It's classic Wright for Chase, gleaming chrome, animated by spherical forms, and highlighted with crisp black and colorful accents, functional, playful, and particularly primed for the buffet table. And then on the right is the electric buffet warming oven by Charles Arcularius. And that helps guests to serve themselves to hot canapes, macaroni and cheese, toast, whatever you'd like. It was offered in chrome and copper, and came with either walnut or white plastic handles and feet. Its streamlined shell hides a heating element that gently warms a water bath. And Chase promised that hostesses could relax and enjoy their party, knowing that the buffet warming oven would take responsibility for keeping the food hot. When unplugged, you were supposedly able to use it as a serving dish that could be passed around the room, but given its size and probable weight, I don't know how practical that actually was. Coffee service anchored many informal gatherings, and this percolating coronet coffee urn by Walter von Nessen makes a modern spectacle of it. A perfect chrome-plated sphere on a fluted base, fitted with ivory tone Bakelite lugs and finial for cool handling. It has an internal electric unit that allows for two settings: hot to brew, and cool to keep, or low rather, to keep warm, and serves up to 25 guests. With its seamless shell seamless shell really telegraphs again hygiene and easy cleaning. And paired with coordinated cream and sugar bowls and a handled tray, the ensemble really turns a small appliance into streamlined, modern tabletop theater. Von Nessen was probably influenced by Eliel Saarinen's tea urn of 1934, which is now in the Cooper Hewitt. And both feature spherical containers with handles, but Von Nessen made his design practical and easy to mass produce. He replaced the silver plate with chrome that didn't tarnish, added a solid fluted base rather than an open one, and his device uses electricity rather than an open flame alcohol burner. According to Chase, this pretzel man server turns snacking into stagecraft. A jaunty, high-stepping figure holds pretzels aloft above beer glasses below, but apparently he's also especially happy to hold donuts, ring cookies, bagels, or any ball-shaped food. Humor softens its machine sheen, marrying whimsy and utility. And then next to it is a napkin holder, which Chase deemed a necessity on every buffet table. A low graphic chrome frame with a central ball weight that pins napkins in place. It was a perfect accessory for both outdoor dining and busy the indoor bustle, since napkins would stay in place even in the presence of sudden breezes or long-winded guests. Proving that even the humblest accessory can be a small masterpiece of purpose-driven design. Russell Wright also emerged during this period, aluminum rather. Russell Wright was around before this, but emerged during this period as a novel material for dining and serving. Lightweight, durable, and easy to care for, it suited more casual entertaining. Russell Wright, again, a prominent figure in industrial design who designed for Chase, brought aluminum out of the kitchen and into the living and dining room with a line of informal serving accessories. Unlike his designs that were gleaming chrome for Chase, here his designs are characterized by brushed aluminum, shaped into spheres and gentle arcs, warmed by wood, cork, and rattan, really creating a tactile balance that feels modern without feeling cold. Introduced in 1930 for the style-savvy urban households, Wright's new or spun aluminum pieces were playful, practical, and made to move from stove to table to guest with minimal fuss. And so this Saturn punch service allowed for labeling punch into small cups that the hostess could then pick up and carry around the room. It could also be used to prepare and serve stew or soup in the same manner. And promotional copy claims that it enabled you to serve all guests in one jaunt around the room rather than making half a dozen trips back to the pantry. The spherical bun warmer on the right, which I have to say always reminds me of a Muppet every time I look at it, but it keeps buns piping hot. And the two-tier tidbit trays doubled the display area for canapes. A relish rosette dish with concentric grooves held an orderly abundance of deviled eggs, whatever vegetables, whatever you wanted to put in it, and it allowed for easy refills. And the wood and rattan handles made everything comfortable to carry, and the aluminum's durability and lightweight nature really ensured ease of handling. In fact, promotional materials promise that even the larger pieces, like this rosette relish dish, was light enough for the frailest of hostesses to carry. Wright's wife, Mary, argued that Russell's buffet accessories helped define a new informal American etiquette. But it was really her marketing savvy that was behind it. She staged store displays with themed tables like a Sunday supper or a porch picnic, and really to promote the accessories, highlight their versatility, and also explain to people how to use them because they were so foreign looking. This one at Marshall Fields, this one is at Marshall Fields, and she also wrote pamphlets and commentary and advertisements. She provided detailed directions for hosting buffet parties, emphasizing the spontaneity and casualness of the events while simultaneously offering in-depth instructions that would take at least a day to follow. And Russell Wright's influence as a tastemaker extended beyond aluminum, notably with the 1939 introduction of his American Modern pottery line. This revolutionary dinnerware line, characterized by undecorated shapes and unconventional colors, was such a radical departure from earlier dinnerware that it took him 2 years to convince Steubenville Pottery in Ohio to take a chance on it and make it. Once in production, though, it was an immediate hit, and earning accolades, design awards, and $150 million in sales between 1939 and 1959. Really, because American Modern hit a sweet spot, right? It was practical and good looking, smart. They had smart merchandising and midpoint pricing. Really perfect for a country shifting towards casual hospitality. Oven to table casserole dishes and refrigerator to table utensils and trays rather streamlined, prep and service, reducing the number of dishes to be washed after, which is always a good thing. Rimless, stackable coupe plates, eliminated purely decorative rims to conserve space. It also suited plate and hand eating. Compact salt and pepper shakers and space-saving servers were ideal for buffet suppers and tables, rather, as well as small spaces. Certainly innovative in design. Wright's silhouettes are curvy and purposeful, rounded corners, folded rims that corral stray salad, pieces of lettuce and salads, a cantilever-handled gravy boat, an elongated pitcher, and an undulating celery dish that looks poised in motion. Multi-purpose pieces including divided bowls, double-decker snack sets, and host plates with an indented ring for cup really made it easy to serve, mingle, eat, and circulate during informal gatherings. You'll notice that decoration is stripped away, so it's really the color, the glazing, and the shape that are doing the work. And unlike the California pottery and Fiesta ware that we'll talk about shortly, the American Modern has an earthy palette. The colors are seafoam, coral, granite gray, white, coral, chartreuse, and bean brown. These were all named by Mary Wright, who also assisted with the designs. And the colors were meant to be interchanged or combined rather interchangeably. In fact, breaking with convention, the dinnerware was sold individually, allowing consumers to mix and match to build informal, individualized tables. And this is common, this open stack retailing, but back then it was a radical concept. But it quickly became popular as it suited American pragmatism and a country shifting its manners to match its modern life. Russell Wright's influential aluminum line and Chase's success with their dinnerware spurred the Aluminum Company of America, or Alcoa, to push beyond utilitarian cookware in the early 1930s. Alcoa enlisted Laurel Guild to develop Kensington ware, and this was introduced in 1934, and the affordable Art Deco line had 5 categories that range from table service pieces to drinkware, accessories, and barware. Made from an aluminum alloy that was typically finished in a matte light gray surface, Giles Kensington designs showcased aluminum's lightness, strength, and heat conductivity. The pieces projected sleek modernity and innovation while also nodding to formal traditions. A balance that offered a reassuring transition for consumers that were grappling with the social disruptions of the Depression. So, although distinctly modern in style and materials, Kensington subtly referenced a more august past. Pieces bore silver-style hallmarks on them and carried elegant names that invoked an older lineage, such as the Clipper Ship buffet server, which had 6 compartments and a cheese board on it for things that make you smack your lips. A pitcher set with a Savoy tray that had a raised rim for carrying drinks, and the Northumberland canapé platter, which is an austere, slightly concave circle featuring an engraved stag, underscoring that, like fine silver, Kensington could also be engraved with your personal hallmarks and or crests, rather, and monograms. The Stratford compote exemplifies the precision that became possible with industrial manufacturing, presenting a perfect geometric cone perched atop a glass sphere, which was marketed as crystal, a material that connoted wealth. And with a name evoking Old England, it married machine age form with a nod or a note of prestige. And the punch salad bowl next to it features a brass foot ring reminiscent of gold, a small luxury note against a cool alloy. Kensington promoted these pieces as being suitable for, equally for a buffet party or a formal table, balancing machine age exactitude with cues of elegance. And the formula worked. That and broad magazine promotion and mid-tier pricing really helped Kensington to reach consumers who appreciated both the chic modernity of the pieces as well as the references to tradition and affluence. Buffet parties in the home took many forms, and the cocktail party emerged as a distinctive feature of American social life, rising during Prohibition and really flourishing during the repeal. With the 18th Amendment banishing the sale and manufacture of alcohol as of 1920, people sought ingenious ways to enjoy drinks at home or in secretive speakeasies like the Cotton Club or the 21 Club, where for the first time men and women routinely were able to socialize together, eroding old gender barriers. The cocktail party, whether in a private living room or a hidden bar, came to symbolize glamour, rebellion, exclusivity, and witty conversation. When Prohibition was repealed in 1933, cocktails shed their air of defiance for one of elegance and allure, reinforced, of course, by popular culture, Humphrey Bogart, Bette Davis, Duke Ellington, Cole Porter, and movies like The Thin Man really became associated and promoted the chicness of the cocktail. By 1930s, the cocktail party, whether a pre-dinner ritual or a standalone gathering, had surged in popularity. More than drinking, it was about showcasing taste and modern style. Women's magazines and department stores promoted slim, fashionable cocktail dresses, sleek barware, and fun accessories that appealed to design-conscious consumers and turned entertaining really into a statement of sophistication. Signature drinks like the martini, the silver bullet, embodied chic modernity, while barware reflected the exuberance and streamlined modernity of Art Deco, of the Art Deco era. Shakers, glasses, trays, and other serving accessories were not just functional but fashionable. Often playful, like this trombone shaker shown here, appearing in chrome, aluminum, copper, and other materials. Because the ritual was still evolving, designers felt that they had more freedom to experiment. And this really distinctly American cocktail culture unleashed a wave of elegant, inventive objects that mirrored and helped shape the era's rapid social change. The striking Manhattan cocktail set, designed by Norman Bell Geddes for Revere Brass and Copper Company, really is a hymn to urban modernity. It features a tall, cylindrical shaker with matching stemmed cups gathered on a stepped tray that reads as a miniature skyline. Polished metal, crisp geometry, and stacked profiles channel Art Deco's machine age, while the angular elements, are reminiscent of Cubism. The motif echoes New York's vertical cityscape, capped by new skyscrapers like the Empire State Building and the Chrysler Building, which captivated artists of all media, including from industrial designers to photographers and painters like Georgia O'Keeffe. And this piece, designed by Howard Reichenbach and Harry Leyland for Chase, is the Blue Moon Cocktail Shaker. Really, it's a textbook of streamlined modern. Again, a tall, sleek cylinder capped by a removable spherical moon that doubles as a shot measure. Minimal joints and precise fits marry glamour with utility, and matching hemispherical cups and the accompanying tray really complete the constellation. As Chase pitched it, this was the shaker every household will want because it's good looking and practical. It was affordable luxury at scale. And some of you may recognize the penguin shaker on the left, which has been reproduced by Restoration Hardware in recent years. But the original was designed for Napier in 1936. It's all gleaming curves with a hinged beak that doubles as a spout. And it shows how humor and sophistication could happily coexist. Penguins were especially fashionable in the 1920s and 30s. Their streamlined black and white form really suited the Art Deco style and Art Deco's love of bold geometry and stylized motifs. Other designers leaned in to play as well, and shakers appeared as artillery shells, airplanes, fire extinguishers, or in this case, thirst quencher extinguishers, proof that cocktail equipment could be witty as well as chic, and really needed to be. In keeping with the penguin theme, West Bend's insulated hot and cold server pairs a polished chrome shell featuring 8 penguins around circling it and wing-shaped plastic handles. The lined interior keeps ice frosty and toasty or buns toasty, bringing steam-lined utility and sparkle to the buffet. And Laurel Guild's canapé plates for Chase are really an ergonomic lesson in chrome, featuring a small asymmetrical platter with raised rings to anchor a cup and a wing-like grip, so that it made it easy for plate and hand eating. Chase boasted that you could hold your cocktail, canapé, and cigarette with one hand while you greet friends with the other. Very handy. Although sold separately, the plates could be stacked together to form an eye-catching floral pattern. And Guild's urn-shaped wine cooler for Chase also pairs this mirror finish chrome and a classically inspired body and loop handles. And it's accompanied by an applied plaque that was designed by American modernist Rockwell Kent. According to Chase, this was Kent's first metal design and one of 3 that he did for Chase, featuring a stylized Bacchus with goats in his signature manner. The Guild-Kent collaboration translates fine art imagery into mass market relief, elegantly bridging studio art and industrial production. Coolers like this, again, mirror the novelty and glamour of the cocktail hour and were not featured, of course, prominently in Chase's production or promotional materials, but also in ads for companies like Coca-Cola and films such as The Live Old Lady of 1936. Of course, there were plenty of other options. The point, again, was to be creative and fun. American Home from October 1938, for example, recommended spiffing up dull but good canapes by serving them in a new dustpan. One hopes that it was new, but again, modern entertaining prize wit as much as polish. There was another impactful innovation during this era, and that was the spread of electricity. As of 1925, only half of U.S. homes were electrified, with most of those in major cities or along electric railways. However, by the early 1930s, almost half of American homes had power. 70% had power. Simultaneously, despite the economic challenges of the Depression, the 1930s also witnessed a surge in purchasing in refrigerator ownership. In 1930, a mere 8% of homes had a refrigerator, but by the end of the decade, almost half of them embraced this revolutionary appliance. Widespread electrification and the rapid adoption of the home refrigerator really reshaped daily life and hospitality. Cold storage broadened menu options and made impromptu entertaining much easier and more feasible, while electric light extended visiting hours and set a modern mood. The era ushered in electrical servants, such as Chase's buffet server, which promised hot food at the table, fewer kitchen trips, and self-service for the guests, all supposedly making things easier for the hostess and allowing her to enjoy her own party. As with much advertising, The effort list was probably exaggerated, as those of us who have thrown parties know, but the possibilities still were undeniably new. And thanks to these innovations, the Sunday night supper became a popular way to entertain. Informal, thrifty, and convivial, these intimate gatherings often featured a single comforting dish like Welsh rabbit on toast or creamed chicken on waffles. Table settings reflected this casual ambiance, replacing damask tablecloths with check or colorful prints, and Limoges with colorful pottery and mugs. And with fewer household servants, guests were invited to clear their own dishes, a signature departure from conventions of previous decades. At the heart of these gatherings were the electrical appliances, including the chafing dish, waffle iron, toaster, and glass and heat control Silex coffee makers, all of which had transitioned from being hidden in the kitchen to taking center stage on the dining table. Again, often produced in new metals like chromium and aluminum, in streamlined shapes to signal speed and hygiene. These modern appliances became darlings of the 1930s and symbols of the era's technological progress. Silex touted table brewed coffee. Guests could watch the brew rise and fall through glass. I'm assuming it was entertaining at the time. A bit of tabletop theater, with ads again praising clean lines, clear glass, and controllable heat, and promising that the coffee could be made and served right where the party was happening. The chafing dish, now often electric, was also performative. In 1936, Vogue editor Marjorie Hillis teased single hostesses that the surest way to a man's heart was to invite him over and heat a can of spaghetti in a chafing dish. Even Eleanor Roosevelt held weekly Sunday night suppers, scrambling eggs inside a silver chafing dish. Alas, critics remembered the gesture more fondly than the eggs. Journalist Joseph Alsop wrote, quote, "Scrambled eggs are not an easy dish to cook in such a way that hungry men turn away in discouragement. Yet the scrambled eggs Eleanor Roosevelt always made were undeniably discouraging." By all accounts, Eleanor Roosevelt was actually responsible for serving some of the worst meals in the history of the modern presidency. Remember the slide at the beginning where she thought it was a good idea to serve hot dogs to the king and queen of England. And General Electric pitched a waffle supper for a lively gathering that would be sure to be a party guests would remember. Waffles were not new, having been eaten by Americans since the Pilgrim days, but they really took off in the 1930s thanks to these new appliances and to mixed batter. The electrifying party was not without its pitfalls, though. Columnist Nancy Tomlinson joked in 1932 about blowing fuses mid-soiree when she ran the toaster, waffle iron, and percolator all at once. Still, much of the appeal was participatory. Hosts and guests cooked together, aromas perfumed the room, and the making became the entertainment. Manufacturers leaned into this. Toastmaster bundled streamlined appliances with trays and condiment bowls into hospitality sets, placed on a table so each guest could make his or her own waffle Toastmaster promised a help yourself party that will give guests a rollicking evening with everybody his own chef and butler. Ads which showed tuxedoed men and gowned women merrily gathered around a gleaming toaster in the living room. Trays were also promoted as essential equipment because, as Vogue editor Marjorie Hillis dryly noted, quote, "Salad on the floor or coffee down the back helps neither rugs nor dispositions." Part of the story around the buffet party, again, was the supposed ease for the hostess and the lightheartedness for the guests. Writer and homemaker Henrietta Ruperger sold the romance of ease in her book on entertaining hints, which promoted the Toastmaster hospitality sets. Her advice: have the right equipment, keep the food simple, and let informality melt stiffness away. Quote, "People who might never unbend at a formal dinner loosen up like magic at a chance to spread their own toast and give deep, happy thoughts to the makings." Before we leave this section, this is just a reminder that not all 1930s and 40s innovations were good ideas. The Lenador refrigerator, opened by foot, promoted hands-free ease. But try steadying a tray of glasses on one foot as a heavy door swings at you, and reports of wobble and broken glasses and plates ended its brief run. And another ad touted a side table with a tiny stove hidden in a drawer, about as safe as it sounds. Both misfires underscore really the lesson of the era, that magic happens when convenience, design, and good sense meet. And finally, American potters also embraced simple, affordable dining in the 1930s, introducing durable, solid-colored earthenware for the newly informal table. Southern California makers like J.A. Bauer, Pacific Clay Products, Gladding, McBean and Company, and others pivoted from strictly utilitarian wares to rustic-inspired pieces in vivid colors, channeling Spanish Revival architecture, Mexican tiles, and an indoor-outdoor California living ease. The look was relaxed and modern, stackable profiles, broad rims, soft convex curves, and concentric banding, everyday echoes of streamlined modern, finished in saturated, cheerful glazes. More affordable than porcelain or china, these wares brought contemporary style to patios and buffet tables. J.A. Bauer set the tone with their California colored pottery in the early 1930s and followed it up with the ringware line, whose concentric bands added tactile rhythm to simple forms, and again, bold, opaque glazes. Sold as open stock, Bauer encouraged mixing colors piece by piece for personalized tables. And California's success inspired companies across the country to follow suit, most notably Fiesta by the Homer Laughlin Company. Introduced in 1936 and designed by Frederick Hurton Reed, Fiesta married streamlined Art Deco forms and concentric bands in 5, soon 6 bright colors. It was really a turning point in U.S. dinnerware, the first widely mass-marketed, solid color collection. Priced within reach and sold as open stock, its 42 pieces let households build their sets gradually and mix hues at will. By 1939, Fiesta was the best-selling dinnerware cementing the by the piece approach alongside Bauer and Russell Wright's American Modern. And actually, this is another line that has been revived or has been brought back, and so you can buy contemporary Fiesta pieces without the uranium and lead glazes. So although buffet service grew from economic realities and shifting social norms, it quickly proved a boon for both manufacturers and households alike. It promised ease, thrift, and spontaneity, even if that effortlessness was exaggerated and shifted labor oftentimes onto the hostess. For the housewares industry, self-service dining created opportunities to sell the latest goods, promoted through advertisements, store displays, and prescriptive literature, and marketed chiefly to an urban, educated, chiefly largely white, middle to upper class audience. Buffet parties became a standard form of entertaining. The more Americans entertained this way, the more they bought, and the buffet soon became a standard form in American homes and firmly entrenched in American culture. As Emily Post wrote in her 1933 promotional booklet for Chase, quote, it would seem safe to predict that even though the New Deal brings prosperity back, buffet parties are too thoroughly in accord with the spirit of the present day to ever go out of fashion. And she was right. They continued as wartime party or potlucks and victory garden suppers, then post-war patio dinners with grills, chafing dishes, glamour foods, cocktail hours with dips, fondue, and tiki parties. All of these things have kept this self-service tradition in the mainstream. The buffet party endures because it's practical and adaptable, modern yet familiar, and in spirit persistently optimistic. Thank you. And any questions, or there's also the buffet if you want. Yep.
Were there special foods designed to go with these special dishes?
You know, that's a good question.
Jello,
I think there were and there weren't, right? I think they kind of emerged alongside each other. But yes, there were definitely, the literature definitely prescribed certain foods for the buffet table. And some of it was dependent on the type of meal you were serving, whether it was like a tea or a dinner, whether there were men present who needed heartier food or women who were okay with dainty food. And so, and then there were certain things that certainly came more to the forefront, obviously with like electricity and things like that. But then some of the dishes, like pickles and celery, really became, again, they had been part of the 19th century dining tradition where you see bowl or serving dishes made specifically for them, but they really, again, came to the forefront during this era. So they kind of worked hand in hand, I would say.
So just one more question.
Sure.
I just read a couple months ago, I think in the New York Times, that entertaining is coming back to the big cities,
Mm-hmm.
home entertaining, so that young people are going to restaurants less.
Yeah.
So do you think there'll be a new age of?
Oh yeah, I hope so. It wouldn't surprise me. I mean, again, we're every time you see economic challenges, right? Then people rethink their habits. And so one of the things that was exciting about this era was that it really was born out of necessity. So it was creativity born out of necessity. And so I hope that we'll see that happen again if we experience some similar challenges. So, yeah. Oh, yeah. We do not. Exactly. So, we do have design and decorative arts, but we don't have these objects per se.